Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is Ryan, the Hot Toys Collector, back today with another unboxing and review for you. This one's a little bit different as we're going to go back a little bit into my collection and do a unboxing and review for a older figure, but not too old. This is Captain America from Infinity War. This is the movie promo edition. I thought what we would do, since we've had kind of a slowdown in figures coming in, go back and look at some older figures in my collection as part of a retro series. So this will be our first retro series review. But before we get into it, please drop down, grab the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a bell or hit the bell for notifications, and leave a comment below. Let me know, do you have this figure in collection? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Things like that. So, as you can see here, we've got the box art for Captain America from Infinity War. This is the movie promo edition. So you get a couple extra pieces with the movie promo edition than you did with the regular version. So we haven't looked at any Infinity War figures on this channel. So you can see the box art is similar to the in-game box art. You do have the gauntlet there on the side, which looks really cool. You do have the big A on the front, but it doesn't have that dusting look effect to it that the in-game figures have. This one has more of a space style look to it. So now that we're through with that, let's go ahead and get the figure out here in the clamshell and let's take a look. Okay, here is the figure in the clamshell. Now, one thing you got to remember, as I said in the opening, is that this is an older figure that's been in my collection for a while. So a lot of the plastic packaging, and you'll see that normally comes on the figure, is not going to be on this one, as it's been either thrown in the box or thrown away, one of the two. So we've got the Corvus Glaive spear there, and we'll take a closer look at that when we get to the accessories. But let's take a look at the figure. So you can see here, Captain America, Infinity War. Kind of looks a little bit like Bradley Cooper. This was one of the things that at least that's one of the things I first thought when I took a look at this figure in hand, was that I felt that it looked a little more like Bradley Cooper than Chris Evans, but I think that has to do with the beard and the way they sculpted the hair. So as we go back into these older figures, one thing you're going to see is the head sculpts that we get now, in my opinion, are twice as good as what we used to get. And I think this one is a prime example of that. So you can see here, as we kind of run through the figure a little bit, the suit, it's got that kind of that worn down look to it. It's kind of got that dirty look to it. You know, he hasn't been able to refresh. This has been probably the only Captain America suit that he has. I hope that he washed it. I'm sure that he did. But you can see here, figure looks real good. And, you know, real solid. I know a lot of people probably passed on this guy, but because, you know, we get a lot of Captain America figures, but, you know, it's nice to have different versions of those figures. In my opinion, it's nice to have different versions of those figures. Just take that set back in there. So let's go ahead and get all the accessories out and get him out on the turntable and take a look and see everything he comes with. Okay, so here is everything that's going to come with your figure. So as you can see, we get a decent amount of accessories. This is the movie promo version. Now, the regular version, if I recall correctly, did not come with the Corvus Glaive spear or the Proxima Midnight spear or the Outrider base accessory. So what you got in that, where you got the hands, the arm shields, and of course the stand. So we get two styles for the stand. We get this paper thick card stock, what we'll call it, that's got this kind of this ground rock style look to it that's supposed to be Wakanda. So you can use that to display. And then we get our Avengers Infinity War base display. So it says Captain America. It's the hexagonal base. It's got this real nice distressed feel to it the whole way around. There's really no glossy texture on this one the way it is with the in-game bases. It has the A that's real glossy, and then everything else is that rough texture. You can hear that's all rough texture there. And we get our regular crush style grabber. Now with that base, we get an Outrider base accessory. And this looks really cool. I'm really glad that they included this. I really wish that they would have done an Outrider figure. Good look there at the mouth with the teeth and everything. That looks really cool. The hand, none of this is movable, so it's, you know, the way it is the way it is. It's set in stone. But this is a really nice display piece for your figure. You get some really kind of cool Photoshop style options with that. If you go over and check on my Instagram, I posted a few photos of this guy, and one of them I had him standing on this as if he just, you know, just conquered him, just took him out. But if you recall back a couple years ago at Comic-Con, Hot Toys had teased an Outrider figure. They put one up, and I got really excited about it because I thought, man, that's going to be really cool to have to do some posing in your Detolf or to do Photoshop options and things like that, but they never made him, unfortunately. It's kind of the same way with the Ultron Sentry that they never made. They never made him. They teased us with him, and then they never made him. So, next up, let's take a look at the arm shields. So these were the shields he was using during the Battle of Wakanda, and they do have some articulation to them as these slide out. And this, I believe this pops up a little bit. Oh, actually, I might already have it up. I think I do. Yeah, I already have it in that position. So these fan out a little bit. And then this thing, you can see here, there's a little spot right there where it slides in and out like that. So what you're going to do to put these on the figure, you're going to want to slide his forearm through here, and then go ahead and have this hand connected here, and then you'll peg in the wrist into the forearm there. These look really cool. I like the details on these. This silver really kind of pops a little bit. It's got a little bit of distressed material or look to it, paint application to it, but it looks really good. Actually, I think that pops out. Yeah. I think this, because it's been a while since I've messed with these, but I want to say there's a little hinge right there, and I want to say this thing actually goes backwards. Let me see. It's a little tricky, and I don't want to break it. And I can't remember how that goes. But you get the point. So those are his arm shields. So, taking a look here at one of the versions that comes with the movie promo is the Proxima Midnight Spear. So this is the spear that she uses in the movie. As you can see here, it's got the 3-prong. Kind of reminds me of in Thor Ragnarok with Korg, when he talks about the 3 spear, the wooden spear, when he asked Thor if he wants one of these, and he said no, and he said, yeah, it'd only be good for killing a vampire. So I thought that was funny. Korg's one of my favorite characters. I think he's really funny. See here, it's got this little blue kind of piece right here that gives it that effect of, you know, of it being on, and you get some really good pose options with that spear. And then I don't believe I talked about it on this channel, but we are getting a Proxima Midnight 6-scale figure made by, shoot, I can't remember who's making that one. They call it the Shadow Void. It's the same company that made the Ebony Maw figure that is called the Space Wizard, and I'm actually due to get that figure in tomorrow, if I recall correctly. I think that's what's showing. So we will have a new figure to review on the channel coming very soon. And then we get a look here at the Corvus Glaive spear weapon, which looks really good. You get both ends there. And, you know, one thing I kind of thought about in Infinity War was it seemed to me that this material right here was probably forged out of the same material that the Infinity Gauntlet was forged out of. They never really said it, and that would be a good question I'd like to ask the writers. Did Eitri and the elves on Nevedalir, did they forge these weapons for Thanos, for the Black Order? Did they forge Proxima Midnight Spear? Did they forge Corvus Glaive Spear? Things like that. Because this, when he was fighting Vision in, I think, were they in Amsterdam? When him and Scarlet Witch were in Amsterdam. I think they were in Amsterdam. Maybe not. But when they found them and they were fighting them, you notice Vision used the Mind Stone against Corvus Glaive, and this was able to deflect the power of the Mind Stone. So this material has to be enchanted with something to be able to handle that power. Because as we saw in What If, and I talked about this in the video the other day with the Ultron Infinity figure. If you haven't seen that one, please go check that video out. The Mind Stone just splits Thanos in half like no big deal, right? In season or episode 8 of What If. So if it's kind of all the same, if it's all connected and that's all canon, then to me that says that the Mind Stone has that ability. So it's kind of interesting to see. I'd like to ask the writers if I'd ever get an opportunity if that's true or not, because that's kind of the way I always took it. Was they made this weapon out of the same material as the gauntlet, and that's why it was able to hold that power, or at least deflect and withstand the power of the Mind Stone. So next up here we have the hands, and this is full gloved hand. So this goes all the way back to the wrist, so you can see. You may not be able to see the into, but the hole for the hand is way up in here, and we'll see that here in a second when we get the figure back out here. But you can see here the gloved hands look really nice. Got that kind of that darker brown distress with that black up underneath. Looks really cool. Then you get a look at the fingers there. That looks really nice. I like these little straps here. That looks really cool. So these two you get for holding the spears and the shields. And then we get just a regular closed fist hand. It looks pretty much just the same. It's just closed fist. You get a left and a right. And then we get one where he is pointing, like to go, pointing to go forward, commanding in battle. Looks really good. I like the little pads here on the knuckles. Looks really nice. And then we get kind of more of an open gestured style hand. You can see in here, got a little black in there. The brown, kind of that leather overlay there, looks real cool. And then we get two hands that are just kind of relaxed. And you can use these hands for the gauntlet. Actually, when I had the gauntlets on, I used these hands for the gauntlets. We'll call them the gauntlets for the shields. I used these just because it was a lot easier for me to slide. I need the other one. Just to slide this up like that, and then to have it like so. Like that's kind of how this is how you would have to get it onto the figure. You get it like this, and then you're going to slide this in, and you got to get it to peg into there. You could use these if you wanted. That's not a problem. It's just, if I recall correctly, when I did that, I actually broke one of these sides, and then I just ended up super gluing it back in. Didn't have a problem. So that's it for the accessories. Now let's go ahead and get the figure out here, and let's take a closer look at his head sculpt and the details of the suit, and we'll do some articulation. Okay, so here we have Captain America on the turntable, just standing straight up and down. Nothing crazy about him. Just a regular style pose, what we would call a museum style pose. So you can see, get a better look at going around the suit. One thing that I noticed with mine is right there on the back, as he turns around, right there. I put him in a pose. This was a while back, and his little the back flap it came out of the pants, so I've had to adjust the pants to get that back inside, which was kind of tedious, but I was able to do that. So let's go ahead and zoom in here, and we'll take a good look at the head sculpt, and we'll do some articulation. Okay, so here we have the figure. As we talked about in the intro, get a good look here at the head sculpt, which I think looks a little bit more like Bradley Cooper than it does Chris Evans, but nevertheless, still looks really good. See the sculpted hair there, looks really nice. He's got the beard that he copied from Thor. That was a funny part in Infinity War. So you can see here we've got the straps for the shield, which obviously he does not come with one, as we just checked out in the accessories, because he didn't have a shield at this point in time. So one thing I like about this figure is on this suit, we get these little patches of this overlaying fabric material wearing out, and then we get more of that chainmail style padding up underneath. I like that they did that, that they showed that. That looks really cool. You can see there's another spot there. So it shows that, you know, he's got a little bit of a, not really like a bulletproof vest style, but he's got a, you know, a kind of some padding armor up underneath this. Looks really good. And of course then this is now all turned completely blue as the paint is worn off of the star. And then we get this for the stripes. They're a darker kind of distressed, grimier style color. I mean, this is one thing, because, you know, in Infinity War, they've been on the run. Him, Black Widow, Falcon have been on the run for a couple years. So obviously he doesn't have access to all of his suits and new suits. So he's had to kind of wear the same suit for the last couple years, which has led to it being distressed and things like that. So we can look at the belt there, his utility belt, a couple pouches, things like that. Looks really good. Then we get a look at the pants. They look really nice. That same style material. The knee pads, and then of course the boots. And this has the Thor boot style in it, where this slides up a little bit, and this is going to give you a little articulation. So let's run through articulation. So head sculpt wise, it's not, see, it's a full jointed, it's a full neck. It's not a jointed where the head sits on a ball joint. So you're not going to get a lot of articulation going up, as you can see. Down, you're going to get, you know, a little bit there. Another thing is, because of this piece right here doesn't allow this to go back. So to get him to kind of look up, you're going to have to kind of bend his chest back a little bit if you're going for a pose like that. And then of course, you know, left to right, just be careful when you are going left to right that you kind of lift this up a little bit to give this a chance to slide up underneath his beard. Arm wise, now as we know in the past, Captain America doesn't have the greatest articulation. I think the only suit, in my opinion, that had decent articulation was the Civil War suit, and even then it was very limited. The one that I have is the battle damage version, which the joints on it are a little bit loose. Maybe we'll take a look at that one here before too long. And that has kind of allowed for a little more articulation for some reason. Now with him, you can see that's about as far up as I'm going to get the arm. We've got the suit here causing issues. We've got this big shoulder pad right here. So that's about as much as you're going to get. Now you do get a little bit of twist from the butterfly, but not a lot. You get full jointed, double jointed elbows at least. And they're going to go in about like that. Now, hand wise, the only thing you're going to get is this right here. You're not going to get any movement up or down, because this wrist piece right here, for the glove, keeps the peg from operating the normal way. So you can see we're not getting a lot of arm articulation, which puts it a little trickier when you're trying to do some poses. For the chest and the sternum, we get pretty good ab crunch. Again, that's, see how this wants to pop out. So that's one thing you got to kind of be wary of as you go into putting this together, is this little back piece wants to kind of slide out. This piece right here, which is this little flap that kind of covers the back of his suit. So you get a little bit there. You get pretty good going back. You hear the joint there. So twist, a little bit, and a little bit. Not a lot. For the legs, we're going out about that much. That's about as high up as you're going to get him to kick. As this is straight up and down, that's about as high up. You're not going to get him to kick a lot. Double jointed knees, and then our articulation on our feet, up, down, side to side, and pivot. So you get the full on range of motion with the feet, but you don't really get a lot with the arms and the legs. And it has a lot to do with the suit. The Captain America suit has always been a little more tricky to pose. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So let's go ahead and get a couple accessories out here on him, and let's do a final pose, and let's finish up the video. Okay, so here we have some comparison of the previous Captain America versions we get. So we get the Infinity War version. We have the Age of Ultron version, which is my personal favorite, and I think to date it's the best Captain America suit and version. We have the Avengers version, which we are getting kind of a somewhat reissue with the 2012 version that will be coming soon to the channel. We get the original Captain America from the Captain America the First Avenger. In the back there is the rescue version from that movie, and then we have the Civil War battle version right there. So, as you can tell, there are some differentiating heights, as I'm going to bring the video down, kind of like that. So, the Infinity War version clocks in at right at 12.5 almost. 12, 1 foot, maybe call it half inch. And then you come back here to the First Avenger, and we come in at right at a foot. So right at 12. So they have kind of updated from what we'll say is the first version all the way to the Infinity War version, which is the latest that I have in my collection. I am missing a few here. The in-game version, I have it on order. Haven't received it yet, which is, for all intents and purposes, one of the best Captain America's figures that they've done, according to what I've heard. I don't know how it's going to beat him out, in my opinion, because I still think he is the best one. Shield-wise as well, too, because it's all magnetic, so it just clips to the wrists and clips to the back, and the magnets are real strong. And then we also are missing the Star-Spangled Man with the Plan, which is the version that he gets into for the show, for the Broadway show, or the USO tour show, whatever you want to call it for that. If I move him out of the way in the rescue version, which will pull him up, get him to stand there. In the rescue version, you can kind of see some of that in the underlying suit there. That's that Star-Spangled Man with the Plan style suit that he has. So we're missing that one. We also are missing the strike suit, which is one of the worst Captain Americas, and then the Golden Age version from Winter Soldier. So I'm missing just a couple there. So I kind of want to put all these together so you all could see them all, and then on top of that, we get an idea, since we've done the review on him, get an idea of where he kind of stands as far as height and where he stands on the other figures. You can see that the Age of Ultron head sculpt is, I think, an okay likeness for the head sculpts that we got during that time. I think it's better than the Infinity War head sculpt, personally. And then the rescue version, I'm getting more in the light here. The rescue version isn't too bad. It's kind of hard to get him in the light with the helmet on. It's not too bad. I think it looks a little bit more like Chris Evans than the Infinity War version, personally. So let's go ahead and we will put him in the final pose, and we'll finish up the video. Just finishing up on the Captain America from Infinity War. So you can see here, we've got him in one pose here, kind of that when Thanos finally comes to Wakanda, he uses the shield, puts it up, gets it ready, and says, "We fight," after Falcon asks him, "What do we do?" Which is kind of a silly question, because what else are you going to do? But nevertheless. So thank you all for watching the video. This is our first in the retro series, where we're going to go back and look at some of the older figures in my collection. And I appreciate everybody watching the video. Please follow me over on Instagram at the Hot Toys Collector. I've posted a couple pictures of this guy. I'll be posting some more here shortly. And I appreciate everybody watching the video. Please like and subscribe. And we will, as always, we'll see you in the next one.